Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion. Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed, private sector, employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome back. This is Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians for January 22nd, 2021. We've made it into the new year at last. We always start with the websites, but I want to introduce Daisy and Mark are with me today. Hello, Daisy and Mark.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, we always list these websites at the bottom in the comments, or not the comments, the description rather, of the video. And it's the TWC websites, of course, their official website and their Facebook page is really the most accurate place to get information about Texas Workforce Commission and unemployment assistance, although it's sometimes hard to find. But that's where it is. It's there somewhere. We also have our Local 433 Musicians Unemployment Information Sharing page on Facebook. We're going to try to put the most up-to-date information that's relevant to musicians there. Our COVID-19 resources page on the Locals website for afm433.com. And, of course, Who Represents Me, the Texas version, where you can find out who represents you in all of the different legislatures at the state level and the national level, because that work is becoming incredibly important now. But before we dive into that, we'll do beverages. I'm doing coffee as usual. What do y'all got?
Green tea as usual for me.
Water.
So consistent. I love it. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, well, so gosh, did something happen this week? Is there news?
You missed it.
Oh, okay. I was sleeping for most of it. No. So we actually did have an inauguration. That was nice. Nice things happened. Wow, the poet laureate, the youth poet laureate, was just incredible. I thought the music was really good. Even the music that I didn't expect to be all that good, I thought was really good. Yeah. Yeah, did you guys have any feelings about that, the events of Wednesday?
I shed a tear or two.
Yeah.
It was pretty emotional, I mean, hallelujah was, I guess, my main thought.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, by the end of the day on Wednesday, I want to make sure everybody is aware of this, and you may have seen this already, but we were even thinking of doing a letter writing campaign about this, but the new administration sent a notice to the chief legal, the chief legal advisor for the National Labor Relations Board, this guy Peter Robb, and offered him an opportunity to resign by the end of the day on Wednesday, or they were going to terminate him, and they did. He refused to resign, so they terminated him. And we were considering doing a letter writing campaign about that. And I think the whole AFL-CIO was, but but they didn't need to. Like they did that right away, which was really really good. This is the guy that tried to make the Scabby the Rat thing illegal like 2 years ago when unions started bringing the blow up of the rat to picket lines. He tried to make that illegal somehow through some sort of magical thinking. But what I actually didn't realize until the other day that's the same guy that helped Reagan to break the air traffic controllers union in 1981. It's the same guy.
Whoa. Huh.
So
I didn't remember that.
that's the guy. It was
Huh.
like, ah! So,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So
Good riddance.
this is a person that was actively trying to destroy the National Labor Relations Board from the inside, like unfortunately so many appointees from the previous administration. So yeah, I mean, thank goodness. So that was swift action. Of course, that may have an implication the next time there's an incoming Republican president and there's a Democratic, lawyer for the National Labor Relations Board. But I think in this case, the guy was like doing so much damage that I think it has been for the last 4 years or 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. What else could that have been done? Yeah. So that's a big win for labor and for working people everywhere, and that's going to enable all kinds of things specifically for unemployment, because the National Labor Relations Board makes the rules that our Texas Workforce Commission has to follow when they're distributing these federal funds and everything. So good news on that front. I did have a couple of things to share about musician unemployment and everything, and but before we do that, do you have anything to share, either of you two, about your personal experiences or people you know?
Not much new. I'm still collecting, so personally, I don't have much to complain about. And thankful, very thankful for the help and generosity of the U.S. government and Texas both. So,
Just to review, Mark, I think we did talk about this last week, but did you have a delay or did you have a gap? There was no
nope.
gap at all?
No, I was very lucky. I think it was just because of the way my dates worked out. There was a week or so of complete confusion where I was getting some conflicting emails from TWC. And the website, the TWC website, was not available for a couple of days. And then after all of that, everything just magically fell into place, and I started receiving my payments again and was able to make the payment requests just like regular.
And you didn't have any weeks where you weren't able to make any requests. That's great.
Nope. I just slid right through somehow.
When were the few days of confusion for you? Was that right after New Year's or?
It was right before New Year's, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very chaotic then. Yeah. Wow. All right.
I basically just was like, I have too many things I'm working on right now, so I still haven't reapplied, and I'm wondering how much trouble I'm going to be in and how hard it's going to be to reapply.
Well, you may not need to reapply, because Mark, you didn't reapply, did you?
No, I didn't.
Right. But if you haven't, and this happened to me too, if you haven't made your payment requests within a certain time, they automatically take you out and you have to reapply.
They wouldn't let me make payment requests anymore.
There you go. Yeah. Yep.
How long were you out, Daisy?
It ended right when yours did, I think.
End of December.
Yeah.
Well, you might not have to reapply. I mean, I thought it was several weeks that had to elapse where you didn't do a payment request before they dropped you.
I have a little bit of information on that too, because that's kind of what happened to me, because of some things. I got taken off because of the number of weeks. So on one place on the TWC website that I seem to remember, but I can't seem to find now. I thought it said your payment request can be up to 3 weeks late, right? Before you're taken out of the system.
Okay.
But then what actually happened when it happened to me what they said was it's been 3 weeks since your last payment
Since you did
request,
one. Yeah, right.
which means that means your payment request really is only 1 week late.
Right. 1 week late. Yeah, right. Right.
So,
Yeah, that's nice.
but I didn't get that notice until my payment request had become 2 weeks late. But it had been 4 weeks since my last request. So,
Well,
yeah.
well, Daisy, I don't think you're going to get penalized for dropping out. I think you're just going to have to go through the whole process of reapplying,
Yeah.
That's
which
what
is,
I have been sitting because I was like, oh, I'm working on this full album release. I got stuff coming up. But now that all wraps up today. So I'm like, okay, tomorrow, time to dive in.
pay attention.
All right. Well, you mentioned it. We have to ask about the album release. Is it an album?
Sorry, it's just a song. It's a single. My
That's
single is
awesome.
dropped. It's dropped. Yeah.
Is it today?
Yeah, today's the official day. I dropped
Hey.
Right. Cool.
it on Bandcamp. I like to have a couple weeks for people to actually pay for it if they want before it goes to all the streaming places, which, I know people hate on that, but I get little checks from Spotify pretty much every month. So not complaining.
Little being the operative word.
Yeah.
I mean, more than most people I've ever heard of talking about it. So I can't complain, but I know it's a horrible, horrible scam. So
Yeah.
it's hard to be like, yeah,
Good for you. Congratulations. That's great.
thanks. Yeah, just humble brags. I made
Hey.
$1 Spotify versus cents, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, we don't shy away from plugs, especially during COVID. So tell us the name and where we can get it.
Yeah, it's called Evergreen. It's by Daisy O'Connor, but really it's me and my band, so it's more of a band production sound. We did it at Public Hi-Fi, aka the Spoon Studio.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out really cool. So it's it's everywhere that you would find music.
Excellent. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. We got a. Oh, sorry. Say that again.
Back on unemployment. Woo.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, man. And of course there's still that what's that? The Hits Act is still floating around out there. I don't think that's a huge priority. Are you guys aware of what the Hits Act is? HITS. That's a law that was proposed. I think it's another one that went through the House and maybe got stalled in the Senate and is still sitting around. But it allows musicians to deduct the cost of producing recorded music before the record comes out on their taxes, which in this situation, in this climate, would be incredibly useful for us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's not currently possible, really. But this would allow it to be like a direct tax deduction for us, which would be huge. I mean, you could see the potential of people misusing that, of course, but it would be great for us. So yeah, that's something to pay attention to. As the new administration gets rolling, maybe that can come back. So just to
cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
So, gosh, yeah, but yeah, Daisy. I think the first step is just to check your inbox, that correspondence inbox, and see what's there. See what the dates are. Definitely keep track of whatever the last week you received benefits were for. Like not the week you got them in, but the week that they were for, right? Because you want to backdate everything back to as far back as you can. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I know there's like contacts. I think I have a contact at TWC I could call if I really needed to. Or, it'll take him a while to get back to me, but still, it's nice to have somebody you can call, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, we've helped other people that we've talked about on this discussion before by writing an email to our state senator, and then they have sometimes been able to get somebody call you from inside the TWC that actually is an appropriate person to work on whatever problem it is that person has. Because that's part of the thing is you can't get through, so then you can't even really find out who can help you within the agency. So that's definitely something we recommend. The union has a couple different contacts. The Texas Music Office, I think, has a different contact within the TWC. Ham has been able to make a connection somewhere in there as well. And God bless those folks. And some of the other nonprofits as well have been able to make a contact within there and try to get that call out. And of course, the problem is once that happens, when they call you, it's not a number that you recognize. So you got to pick up your phone for a couple of days. That could be perilous, of course, too.
My worst nightmare.
Yeah, but it works. So, all right. Well, I wanted to relay some stories. They're not really success stories yet, but they're sort of in process. Just of musicians that this unemployment compensation advisory committee has people that have reached out to us, and we've been in contact with this week. We had one musician that works for an institution, one of the classical music institutions, and so they get a W-2, right? So it's a little bit different than our freelancers, but they actually do it for several different organizations, so they get several W-2s. But anyway, what happened with that musician is, gosh, like I think way back in September, the institution, did employ her for some things, but she was collecting unemployment, and so you report the income, and maybe you don't get it for that week, but then the next week you can get it again. And what happened was that the employer divided it up into 2 weeks, and she thought it was going to be in 1 week.
Oh,
That
so
kind
she
of
lost.
thing.
So she lost 2 weeks of unemployment.
Well, that's what should have happened, but something blew up in it, and she lost about 6 weeks because there was a
Whoa.
delay in processing.
Oh God.
What happened. So and then the musician was able to get a hold of someone at TWC through the Texas Music Office, but then the communication broke down somewhere, and then it went on for a few more months, and then she got the overpayment notice and the bill to pay back and all this stuff. So it's all kind of hanging on. So we sort of restarted that whole thing. We did the result of this. We got some good information. Apparently, normally what happens with those overpayment things, when you have to pay back some of the overpayment, is they send you a bill and they give you like 1 month's grace period, and then it goes to collections after that. But apparently they're not going to go to collections during the COVID thing, and they're not supposed to even send you the bill for it if you have an appeal in process, because you have the option to appeal it as soon as you get it, and you should do that if you get one of those. We have a lot of folks in that situation where the things got configured or figured out wrong or something according to the TWC, and then they have to pay back part of their benefits. So you should definitely appeal it, and if you have an appeal in process, don't start paying is the idea, right? Until that's there. But it makes it what you receive in your mailbox and your correspondence inbox makes it appear as if you need to start paying back right away. So yeah, yeah, exactly, Daisy. That just adds to the anxiety.
That was stressful.
Oh man. So we did get confirmation that they are not sending those to collections now, and if you have an appeal in process, that you shouldn't start paying it yet. It's just the different offices in the agency have their communications are piled up so high that it's just crazy. And of course now, as of Wednesday, we have even more stuff, and actually yesterday new stuff went in, as far as aid packages that are going to cause this reconfiguration of the Texas system again, and it's going to slow everything down.
Wow.
So unfortunately, it's really not helpful for our pounding hearts here, but the best advice right now really is to like wait on it, and put in your communication, put in your new applications, but you have to wait on it because everything is backed up, and there's really just not that much we can do. But we can get a hold of people inside the agency and try to get the phone calls and things, but at a certain point, all you can do is kind of wait for a week or two, and hopefully things will start to go through the system. But it's still a very old system, and yeah. So,
What's the litigation situation
ah,
regarding that? I mean, has anybody had to actually go to a legal thing, get a lawyer or whatever in regard to that? I mean,
I haven't heard of anybody having to do
uh,
that. Have you heard anything about that?
no, I hope not, but no, I don't. I haven't. I just was kind of curious if if it comes to that, do we have a lawyer that we can tap into who may be able to help people with that kind of situation if it comes to that?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if the AFM legal would be involved in that because it's not a union contract. But I mean,
Right.
certainly, getting some sort of advice would be, yeah. I mean, yeah, if that happens to you, let us know right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just for the purpose of sharing information. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, we can, there probably would be if a musician was involved, there probably would be a lawyer that would be interested in,
That would be willing to help. Yeah.
yeah, interested in
Yeah.
some sort of pro bono type of situation. We would hope,
Mhm.
because that would be nuts, and everybody loves music, and
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
yeah. But let's also keep in mind that everybody does love music, and and we are going to come back to this and play again. So yeah, oh man. Then the other situation I wanted to share is another thing that's still in process. I heard from a musician um, this week who was finally able to do the payment requests again, and then they were backdated back into December. But then the payment request was denied, and it went
Wow.
went to zero, and we're still trying to figure out, well, why did that happen? So,
Hmm.
and part of this is just kind of sharing the experiences, of what can happen because it's so inconsistent. I mean, people with exactly the same situation will have totally different experiences and different timings on these communications. So, yeah, we're hoping we can get that musician some help through our
Mhm.
channels. But yeah, there you go. So, man, yeah. Did you guys have you heard anything else about anybody or
Mm-mm.
any particular things? Okay, well, let's keep each other updated about what's going on and the viewers, and hopefully we can all make it through this thing. Yeah. Do we have anything else to share for this week?
No, just looking forward to some changes.
Yes.
Looking forward to protections for working people getting a little bit stronger, and or at least somebody being sympathetic to that, I think would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was some news actually just this morning about the stimulus payments and how they're going to try to get those not
Out.
yeah
Yeah.
out, but not just to taxpayers, like because there are people that need help that actually don't pay taxes for a variety of reasons. So that shouldn't always be an exclusion.
Hmm.
And they have talked about the need for. I mean, Republicans have talked about the need for it to be more targeted. Um, but and that I suppose that makes sense. But also, it needs to get to everyone who needs help because our whole economy is what that's supposed to be lifting here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
We are the economy.
yeah, working people are the economy. That's right.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, I'm just over here living on Bernie Sanders memes.
Oh
There's so
yes.
many that are like Bernie outside of like Cheer Up Charlie's or different clubs, checking IDs with a funny caption, or like Bernie working the merch table, or like Bernie with a stack of amps behind him. There's so many hilarious memes out there. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm feeding myself on.
You liked his gloves, his
Yeah.
mittens.
Also, like I would be that person. I would be like, all this pomp and circumstance. I just want to be warm. Can we get it over with? I got some work to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah. I think didn't he have like a big manila envelope with him, like with some business in it? I mean,
totally. He's like, we've got actual work to do, you guys.
God bless him. God bless him. And he's now the chair of the finance committee now, in the Senate now, right? So yeah, let's get the
Fun.
work
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Let's also think about letter writing campaigns that we can do, especially to our our two lovely state senators from Texas here, or United States senators from Texas. But other things, I mean, we have this for 2 years. We have hopefully a labor friendly government nationally, but they're going to need us pushing them to get things done, and we have to push the opposition as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
One that I've been thinking about, and I don't know if this is the appropriate venue to talk about it with, but the FCC fairness doctrine that was removed in 1987, that is a huge, huge issue. And I grew up my whole life in the environment post that, a year before. So I grew up with Rush Limbaugh being the news, and people like that who are not fairly presenting all sides and opinions. They're unfairly representing everything, I would say. And there's so much of that in the world. That's kind of become the entire media landscape. And now we have social media, so it's like even more challenging. But I just wonder if there's some way that we can revisit how these things are being done so that it's a little bit less sensationalized.
Yeah, you're talking about the doctrine that has language where like news reporting has to be based on facts, has to be factual.
And you have to present both sides kind of as they would present themselves. Like, yeah, we believe this, but they believe that. Rather than like, we're the best and they're the devil, which is how rhetoric has been for my entire life. And I honestly don't think it's helping anybody besides maybe a few rich people up there.
Yeah, it really sets the standard a little higher for journalism and news reporting, right? And I think the journalists would welcome that too. Really, the real journalists out there. I think they're out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, but it's still a big question about, in my mind, about how far we have gone into the post-truth era.
And we're my age in, at least.
Well, or anybody's age, I mean, we've gone a long way into that, and there's a lot of people who live their lives already in the post-truth era. Yeah. What are we going to do about that?
Yeah. Even what we were just talking about. I mean, the person that broke the air traffic controllers union was actually the chief legal for the National Labor Relations Board for the last 3.5 years. And wow, I mean, we had a very anti-education Secretary of Education for the last 4 years. I mean, just there's so much to repair. Absolutely, yeah. But that's a great idea, Daisy. Let's keep talking about that. Maybe maybe I'm not sure who we would lobby about that, who we would write letters to, but
there's a whole bunch of I really briefly Googled it while I was talking to friends about this. But I have a friend that wrote a book on it, so I could definitely pick his brain. There's a bunch of .com kind of things with 200 signatures on it, but nothing's actually trended.
Well, didn't Elizabeth Warren have something to do with that, fighting that or something? You might want to check her website too, because she
might be there.
She was really involved in that whole finance thing all for much of her career. So check out where she's at on that.
I miss so much, you guys. I've just been playing songs on my guitar forever. I have to take my head out of the dirt and figure out what's going on in this world. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
I got to run, but thank you guys.
I think we all got to run. We're all done. But viewer, if you're a musician and you're on unemployment and you're not doing very much right now, don't give up. Do what you can. Our work is going to be valued during this thing just because it exists. We're going to get through this by sharing information and with solidarity. And we'll see you next week.
Hang in there.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us, Daisy and Mark.
Yeah, have a good one.